Well, it comes back to that philosophy that everything's God's, right?
Right.
So the house, all this stuff, it's all God. So, you know what? We're all hands on deck taking care of God's stuff.
Right. And with that comes a level of respect. Like for not only the things, but the people in the home that God blessed us with.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jackie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We have had a few episodes now. Really, I would say just going through this journey of our kids starting into some of their sports this year. And we thought it would be good just to have some of those open conversations live, because it's kind of neat watching everybody go back and forth. You know, one of the things that I thought we could take one more episode and talk through a little bit, Hun, is some of our values around sports. It's not just sports, but man, sports are such a great tool to teach character and to teach teamwork and to get you to challenge yourself to be better and teach discipline because of how you have to get in shape and work out and do things that you don't feel like doing in order to be good enough at something. I mean, there's just so much value in sports, and we have a number of different philosophies that we have built into our kids from the time that they're little, and we teach them to the point where if I even just bring them up, they'll know how to finish the sentence, you know. And one of them we already mentioned is that, you know, your best is enough, but your best is required. You know, that's kind of our go-to philosophy. If somebody's going to play a sport, we don't really care if you're a perfect champion at it. We're not like that kind of level of crazy competitive. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're all winners in this family, and we like to win. But, you know, if Jerus is 5 foot tall and kids in his class are, 6'3", and he's struggling to be the best basketball player, I'm going to challenge him to become the absolute best 5 foot tall player he can be. But if he's not, if he's not becoming the starter center, I'm not going to be mad at him. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because I think our philosophy is just like, obviously all of our kids have different athletic ability. Yeah. Like some things are genetically, I mean, if you're just not that tall, you're just not that tall.
Yeah.
And if you don't have long legs, you don't have long legs,
yeah.
Or if you're not naturally built, with a stronger, body that can hold certain weights and stuff like that. It's just like, we just understand that kind of stuff, but that doesn't mean you don't try your best.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's a big one. We've had experiences in the past when we had our kids get into like a youth soccer league or something like that. And they were somewhat just having, I don't know, just not really trying hard. Right?
Right. We have. I mean, I'd like to think that all of our kids, when they go out for something, they remember everything mom and dad taught them, and bam, they're trying their best all the time. And we're like those proud parents that are like, we coach just so you know if you need some help.
That's right. We're champions. So every one of our kids is naturally a champion at every sport too.
I'd love that to be true, but it's not the truth. But yes, we've started our kids, especially when they were younger. It seems like in the area we were living in that everybody started with soccer. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know why. That was just what our area where we were living at.
Yeah.
We don't understand a lot about soccer, you and I.
Yeah, we didn't grow up playing it, so.
We didn't grow up playing it, so we really didn't understand the fundamentals or what to even accomplish with it or anything of that factor. But our kids really wanted to get involved in it. And we realized, though, that, of course, when they're young, we would be like, let's go do soccer. Like, all your little friends are doing soccer. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes as parents, we can pressure our kids to start sports before they even want to, and
yeah, and they don't even really know, they think, yeah, that sounds like fun. But then they get there and it's like, oh, you got to actually do a lot of work and stay focused for like an hour.
Right?
They're like, I didn't know this what sports were. I thought we just went out here and just, played.
Yeah. And that's part of the problem sometimes is the disconnect. Sometimes you start kids too young, and some kids aren't mature enough yet or don't want to be, or just, the parents, Didn't understand what it
As a
took.
parent, like especially our twins, everything's an experiment. You have your
Oh,
first
yeah.
kids, like you think you get advice from people, but then you really just got to go try it and walk it out. And for us, it was good though because we learned to teach our kids this lesson that hey, listen, we're all about you being into sports, but the expectation is that you're going to work hard, like you're going to try your best, and because we know from experience that's what makes a sport fun. And so if they're not going to try their best, then they're going to lose the ability or the right, I would say, the privilege to actually play that sport.
Well, yes, because we can't be more committed to the sport than you.
Yeah.
And so, we learned that kind of early on that some of our children, as much as they kind of wanted to go out for a sport, they weren't really committed to soccer. We would kind of encourage them to do it. We thought it was the right thing to do to get them involved in soccer at 4 years old and keep pushing them all
Yeah.
the way through.
Yeah.
And we quickly realized that it's not the sport necessarily as much as their maturity level there to enjoy it is not there.
Yeah. And there's different levels of competitiveness.
Yes.
Like I would say Chrissy, all of our kids they all like to win, no doubt about it. But Chrissy really values like relationships. She probably values the relationship part of sports almost more than anything else.
1000%.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Now we still expect her though to go try hard. Because if you're going to be on a team, you don't want to be the weak link on a team. And then you have the other side of the spectrum, which is Druce. And Druce is like highly competitive.
Correct.
Almost to the point where I'll talk about some of these lessons here in a minute, but where he would almost push his character boundaries in order to try to win things because he's just so competitive. Like,
Yeah, when he was
it's
younger.
all about winning. It's not about relationships. We joke about it all the time, how Druce is so different than the girls. They want to get to know everybody on the team and they want to know everybody's names. And Druce could literally play a whole season in something and be like, "So who's your favorite guy to play with?" I don't even know his name. I'm not even sure. But, he's pretty good at doing this or that.
Right? He knows by what his skills are, not by his name.
Because
But,
he's like, let's just go.
which I will tell you, it's so neat. And I totally give kudos to coaches today because they need all those people on a team to make it come together.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
it's really neat.
So the other side of that statement, that philosophy, that your best is enough, but your best is required, is just when somebody like Druce is out there and he wants to win so bad, and when he doesn't win, right? And then he's the kind of kid that literally he's walking off the court trying his best not to be just hard crying, And so then we get to also, even as a parent, have peace in our philosophy because it's like I get to edify him and love on him because I know he actually really did give his best. If he didn't, I wouldn't. But he did. And so it's like, hey, listen, you know what? You did what you were supposed to do. You absolutely gave it everything you had. And because of that, that's what makes you a champion. Because let's just face it, most of life isn't really about beating other people and things. It's about actually beating yourself, like overcoming you, competing with you. Because if you just compete against others, that can help pull you sometimes, and that can also help keep you back sometimes, right?
Right, totally. And I think too, with that philosophy also comes, there's been times when our kids have come off the sporting event and they're like, yeah, we lost. So-and-so, did this. And we're like, okay, but let's evaluate you for a minute. And, we try really hard. We try not to overcorrect, especially after a game with our kids or anything like that. We try to, say, hey, let's chat about this later. Let's get in the car. Let's get home. Let's do our thing. And not that we've done it perfect. They say don't talk to a coach, the first 24 hours after a game, unless it's for a positive reinforcement.
Just don't do it, period.
Yeah. But as they're explaining this to us at the sports weeks this week, what was your answer to me when you said that?
Well, I said I need to be able to communicate how I feel while it's fresh in my mind.
And I'm like, see, and you're the type of parent that they're saying go home and don't send an email and don't call until 24. Actually, just make it 48 hours.
It's not a problem if they're a good coach.
Right. Yeah. And who would be a good coach? You. But anyways, and you would never get any criticism. And so, but I think too, it's really a lesson learned with our kids that when they come off and they might be frustrated, that we do reflect with them and talk to them like, okay, but did you try your best? Because there's aspects I saw out there that's not who you are. And we like to remind them who they are and tell them, I don't think I saw you living up to your potential. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but it does mean you have to be trying your best.
Yeah.
And the person I know did not behave that way out there.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, you can see it taking hold. I remember teaching this to our twins when they were, hunter's age, and you're trying
Right.
to teach stuff to a 4-year old or a 5-year old or a 6 or 7-year old, and they kind of get it, but then they don't really get it, and then you keep teaching it, and then they kind of get it, but don't really get it, and then now it adds up to when you get your kids that are 11, 12, 13, 14, and you watch them living it. I mean, it's like another big philosophy of ours is that we never give up our character for a game to
No.
win a game.
No.
We never give up our character to win a game. And I had this season with Drews where we started just doing, he would play some local basketball stuff, when we lived in Wisconsin. And one of the things that I would do to work with him during the summer was we had our we had like a full court basketball hoop up in our yard at our lake house. And we would do some competitions back and forth. We would just kind of run to each end of the court. You shoot a shot. If you made it as a point, if you missed, you had to run to the other end of the court, shoot a shot. And I let him even do layups while I was shooting like 3-pointers just to make it a little bit more fair because he's just a little guy, but he's so competitive that he's the kind of kid that if you tell him, hey, go practice dribbling for 30 minutes, he's going to be doing it for 2 minutes and then he's going to go start chasing butterflies around the yard. You know what I mean? It's just the kind of the way he is. Because if it's not actually something you can win, he gets a little bit distracted. But if it is a competition, man, he goes for it. And I remember that we were going through and, we'd be playing. And there was a lot of times when it'd be like 9-9 and you're shooting a shot and he would, he'd make his right after mine, but he'd say he made it before mine or something like that. And it was just these teeny little bit of a lies, right? In order for him to win. Or maybe it was we were playing one-on-one and it goes out of bounds and it was close, but it was obviously off him, but he would argue with me that it was off of me. And then he'd get so mad that he would start crying even because I wouldn't hold him to it. And I kept every single time he did it. I remember we would stop the game and I would explain to him again that I didn't say, hey, you're a liar. I didn't say, hey, don't act like that. I just said, you know what? You need to understand who you are. You're a champion. And you're a champion with character. And so we never, ever, ever give up our character to win a game. Because even if you did and you got away with it, even if you did something that wasn't high character and you got away with it and you won the game, you still didn't actually win the game. And the reality is you're going to know it. You're going to know it and you're not even going to be able to be proud of it. Even if you get a trophy in a manner like that, every time you look at that trophy, it won't remind you of being a champion. It'll remind you of having no character. And so had to pound this in, but then he would do it again, pound it in, he would do it again. And I'll tell you what though, what's he like now?
Well, it's so great playing with Drews now because anywhere he goes, whether he's just at a random gym or even just at a park or something like that, he always is respectful on the court. Yeah. He's always doing it first class. And in fact, he'll even say, that kid wasn't paying fair. I corrected him a couple times. He still didn't want to play that way. So I said, I'm not going to play with you this way.
Yeah.
If that's how you're going to play, I don't do that kind of stuff.
Even then, I'll watch him when he's competing against other people. And even let's say it's a close play and the ball goes out of bounds and it's, about winning basket. And he'll be honest. He'll be like, no, it was off me. Even though the other team thought it was off them, he'll be like, guys, listen, I'm not doing it. It was for sure off me. It's your ball. Like I just watch him do this without him even knowing that I am watching. Right.
Which is neat to think that, again, parents, if you're going through something like this, it's just staying on it.
Yeah.
For us, we could have sat there and questioned ourselves.
Yep.
And been like, we've explained this too many times. Maybe we should just pull him from sports.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just not getting
Just
it.
for people hearing this, that this wasn't just an overnight thing. It was probably 2 years of me correcting him. I'm talking like probably at least monthly, about different scenarios in this regard. But now, I'll tell you what, see, again, I can't encourage people enough that when you get a philosophy you want to build into your family, the thing is don't ignore it. Like if your kid is doing something low character, don't ignore it. Like face into it when it happens. It may not fix it right then, but the next time it happens, do it again. Keep speaking to their identity. Keep reminding them that we don't give up our character just to win a game. And over time, it does stick, right?
Mm-hmm. It's good.
Yeah, it is good. I'll say one more thing here. That we use a philosophy, and it's not necessarily relating to sports, but it's just relating in general to anything we have our kids do, and that if you don't do it right, you're gonna do it what?
Again.
You're gonna do it again.
Mm-hmm. And that's a hard one sometimes. Gosh, I mean, it's one thing with sports, like if you don't do it right, okay, you may lose a game, or you just might not move forward. You might not make the team, or that's an obvious kind of like, shoot, I didn't do it right. type thing. And then you know what you need to correct and you move on, right? If you're mature enough to handle it.
Yeah.
But like it's really hard when you don't do something right, like whether it's at home that mom and dad asked you to do something in school, you know.
Well, I mean, we have a lot of chores around here that need to get done because there's 8 of us. And so, you know, things get busy. And whether it's having groceries put away or whether it's making a meal or whether it's actually having to sweep out the garage from time to time or
clean up the house. I mean,
clean
like
up something
you know,
or take care of the dogs or something.
Yeah, like at our house, we don't pay you to do chores around our house. Like you live here, you help. You know, that's kind of our whole philosophy. We just believe if you're a family member here, we work as a team. We all have to do things that we enjoy and we all do things that we don't enjoy sometimes. And so there's other ways to make money and we teach that along the way. And a lot of that has to do with entrepreneurship and
well, it comes back to that philosophy that everything's God's, right?
Right.
So the house, all this stuff, it's all God. So, you know what? We're all hands on deck taking care of God's stuff.
Right. And with that comes a level of respect, like for not only the things, but the people in the home that God blessed us with.
Yeah.
So when we look at it that way, you know, for instance, if somebody chose to do a mediocre job at home.
Yeah.
And I walk around the corner and I see, you know, you really cut corners. I mean, I asked you to vacuum and sweep and kind of mop the floor. And I'm looking over here and you didn't just miss a little bit. Like,
Yep.
Are you sure you did this?
Yeah.
Type thing. You're going to have to do the whole thing over.
That's right.
And I think it's such a lesson learned. And if you do it with a bad attitude, you're going to have to do more because we're just not going to be the type of people that thinks it's okay to just do a halfway job.
And it's funny, you know, I'll tell this stuff to parents sometimes. They'd be like, man, that's pretty hard. That's pretty hardcore on you guys. And I would tell them the same thing every time. I'm like, it's not hardcore. This is called life preparation. Because if you let your kids be slackers now and they get in the workforce and they become slackers, they're going to be bottom of the barrel people, you know, getting fired from jobs nonstop because employers aren't going to take that, you know. And so we're preparing them, even though you have to challenge them a little bit. And I remember Drews, you know, hey, go sweep out the garage. And he'd do a halfway job. And I'd be like, you got to do it over. And he wants to go play.
Yes.
But as a parent, and it takes effort because now I got to pay attention again. I got to take more time to check on all this stuff, right? And I don't have time for that. But the lesson is that valuable.
Well, and I think it's so important for us to understand there's always eyes looking at you. You know what I mean? And that goes for us too. I mean, even as parents, I mean, how many times do we get tired sometimes with things? And if we show that kind of level to our children where it's like, you know, I just kind of got tired. I just, you know, like, no, their eyes are staring at me. So what? I want to do an awesome job all the time. I would like to think just because I think God's watching me all the time that I do everything perfectly. But really, I have 6 sets of eyes staring at me all the time. Like they put me in check. And I think that's super important to remember that for me. And one thing we realize is in our family, we had different people, different children, I should say, have different ranges of what they felt was a good job on things. So here we'd have some of our children at one end that did an excellent job, like to the point where even you and I were like, oh my gosh, that's like better than what you and I could have done on that kind of job. Like, whoa. And then we had some that kind of did the you know, bare minimum. And so what would we do? We would like always ask the ones that did things kind of at the excellence to keep doing stuff. And the people at the bottom were kind of like getting away with stuff. Right. And after a while, the older kids that were doing a good job with stuff, actually, I shouldn't just say older. That wasn't the case always. Some of our youngers are excellent helpers about stuff. Some of them were just doing such a job that we were like, how is this fair even to your sibling?
Right.
You know what I mean? You were putting so much pressure on this person to clean up your mess all the time. And then mom and dad almost forget, like, no, we need to go back in with one of our kids and teach them it is not the responsibility of the other one that does it well to pick up your slack. That is not fair to that child. And because otherwise bitterness and resentment happens between them.
Right. That's right.
Also. And even like as things are going on in our household, you and I are so good at communicating like, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm asking so-and-so to help me specifically with this job because I feel like there's a lesson learned here.
Yeah.
And that way then, you know, not one child is the only one working all the time.
Sure. Good stuff.
It is. It's always good.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. And we have great news. You get more of us. You can expect new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. So be sure to consistently tune in with us and enjoy our show. See you next time.